looking for your fundamental or unified theory of management and life or fundamental guiding principles?
In 10 words or less.
Let me try that one more.
Good.
It's pragmatism. Partly we do things in our different way because it suits us, and partly we do it, it suits our temperament, our natures, and partly we do it because we found through experience that it works better, at least with us sitting where we sit. It's just that simple. And we've had enough good sense when something is working very well to keep doing it. So I'd say we're demonstrating what might be called the fundamental algorithm of life. Repeat what works. Is that terse enough for you?
We'll go on to number 3. I like it.
What advice could you give a young entrepreneur as myself on how to go about defining and both building wealth within their own business, as I hope to build a business that one day you'd be interested in acquiring?
I predict you're going to build one. You know, it may not quite get to the size that we're a moving target as well, but if you start off with that principle you just enunciated, there are probably some other similar principles that you'll have that we would also agree with. There's nothing like following your passion. I mean, I love what I do, obviously, and I've loved it the whole time I've done it. Charlie is the same way. We have managers, you know, they come, some of them went to business school, some of them didn't, you know, they're all types. But the common factor in them, and they're successful, the common factor is they love what they do, you know, and you've got to find that in life, and some people are very lucky in finding it very early. I was dumb luck that my father happened to be in the securities business, so when I would go to his office there were a lot of books to read, and I got entranced with that. But you know, if he'd been in some other occupation, I think I would have read those books eventually, but it would have been a lot later. So if you find something that turns you on, my guess is you're going to do very well in it. And the beauty of it is, in a sense, there's not that much competition. I mean, there are not a lot of people out there that are going to be running faster than you in the race that you elect to get into. And if you haven't found it yet, you may well have found it, but if you haven't found it yet, you know, you've got to keep looking. And we've got 70 plus managers, you know, some of them didn't. We had one guy that didn't go to high school even, didn't he, Charlie and Rosner?
Oh, yeah.
He quit in 4th grade, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. B never went to school a day in her life, you know, and when you go out to the Furniture Mart, I hope you go out this evening, we expect to set a record today in sales, what you are looking at on those 78 acres, you know, is the largest home furnishing store, about 400 million of sales, largest store in the United States, and it comes from $500 of capital paid in by a woman that never went to school a day in her life and couldn't read or write. You know, I mean, she loved what she was doing, and you know, I tell the story. This is a true story. When she was well into her 90s, she invited me over to her house for dinner. That was very unusual. And a very nice house, 6 or 7 blocks away from the store. And I went into the house, and the sofa, the chairs, the lamp, the dining room table, they all had little green price tags hanging down at them. It made her feel at home. And I said to her, Mrs. B, you are my kind of woman, yeah? Forget Sophia Loren and all the rest. I mean, this is my kind of woman. She loved it, you know, and she loved it all her life. And just think of what that produced. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, one time my dad used to quote Emerson that the power that lies within you is new in nature, you know, and basically the power that was within Mrs. B was new in nature, and just over a lifetime it produced amazing things. So find your passion, and then don't let anything stop you.
I'd like to have your perspective on
whether our country needs a high-speed passenger rail service.
I think by its nature, it would be non-economic when it competes with auto and competes with air. We don't have the point-to-point density and demand that would produce a return on capital. That is my guess. I made no big study of it, but all of the times I've seen projections and of the economics of it, it just doesn't work that well. So it will be, if it gets done, unless it's heavily subsidized in some way, which means it's public anyway. I don't think it'll happen under private. It won't meet the test of private economics. Charlie, they've got a big proposal in California on this. What do you know about the economics of that?
Well, I know very little, but I'm at least as dubious as you are. The cost of putting in a high-speed rail system in a place that's already densely populated is awesomely large, and of course you're competing with a system that people prefer.
They're talking about in Omaha.
I'm very skeptical about sticking high-speed rails. I think it's great in Japan and China.
It's working.
They have a different calculus.
Yeah, Japan.
But
it's
the idea
worked. Yeah.
of putting high-speed rail into Los Angeles just looks to me like a bottomless pit of cost and trouble, and just think of how difficult that would be.
If it's going to be high speed, it can't stop very often, by definition, and it can't go off into spurs and all of these kind of things. So it really gets to point operation, and the cost gets staggering. There's a talk in Omaha about a trolley system, and they're talking about a couple $100 million or something like that from the federal government, and the projections of actual revenue are, as I remember, are something like $400,000, and that's before operating costs. So the math, you put $200 million into something to move people a few miles in Omaha, and most of the people are going to want to ride their cars, and to have it be efficient, it has to be point to point pretty much for them. If you start living 6 blocks one way or 8 blocks another way, you say, nuts, I'll take the car. The math really gets to be staggering on these things. And now, everybody figures if you can get the money from the federal government, it doesn't cost anybody anything, but it'd be a lot of money. And it's been done in Buffalo, and people like it. But I've requested the figures on it today, and it blows your mind in terms. You could give everybody a cab ride or something, and it'd be cheaper for society as a whole. So I have a feeling that it works marvelously, maybe between Tokyo and Yokohama or something, and it really does, and it even works well enough so I think it justifies private investment. But it's tough in a country of 3 million plus square miles and within the continental lower 48. It's very tough to make the math work. Now, if it becomes a huge project or something of the government, so it isn't anybody's math, maybe it'll happen. I don't think it'll ever happen with money that wants a return.